How you doing?
Hey, good. Hey, before I say anything, I want to tell you I'm pro Second Amendment. I don't have any issues with, I'm a supporter of that. But, I just wanted to understand y'all's mindset a little bit because it kind of seems to me what y'all are doing. I know you mean well. Don't get me wrong. I agree with all your concepts, but you make yourself out to be fringe. I mean, this is kind of an extreme. If you're trying to, I'm trying to understand what y'all are really trying to accomplish, and I don't mean that as an insulting way. I'm asking you honestly. I want to hear what you have to say because, well, this is counterproductive to what you really want to do. I think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, from my experience, I've been doing it for over 2 years since I moved here, and I've had, with very few exceptions, I've had nothing but positive encounters with people, and most of the officers too. I don't know if they're your officers, but here in San Antonio and other cities I've gone to, and it's not really. Our original mission obviously was open carry. We're open carry Texas. We've made good strides towards that, as you guys know, with the law that was signed. But it's not we have any one mission. It's just getting people used to this. And for the most part it is, because I remember when we first started, it was like every person was like, oh my God, what are those guys doing? And now it's kind of like, I mean, we've been out here I've been here, I got here like 2 hours ago. Everybody's kind of looks and they're like, oh, it's those guys again. So.
Well, carrying around assault rifles, and I own many myself, so I'm, like I said, I'm not a,
Well, we don't have any assault rifles.
Well, okay.
I'm just getting you on a technicality.
Okay. And I'm a big shooter too of everything. I know this one here looks like it's a SIG 6551 maybe.
No, this is actually a CZ Scorpion.
Okay, it's just kind of a look-alike. It looks like a clone, and I recognize everything here. Pretty much. Okay, that was good in World War II. I'm not sure. And they kick like a mule too. I fired those. They're interesting. No, I think that the only thing I would tell you is it just seems to me this is taking it to the extreme. And. This really, I would just give some consideration to the fact I think you do more damage than you do help. Because I think the average person who looks at it, most people, if you look in the country, I believe most people are pro Second Amendment. I think they are, and I think the fact that, and I understand that, I think the people who are talking to you are kind of tapping into some of the anti-government sentiment right now, which there's quite a bit because of some of the stuff that's gone on. But walking around carrying these in public, it just, especially in light of some of the terrible tragedies we've had across the country, I would just kind of consider for yourselves whether this is really portraying yourselves the way you want to be portrayed.
It is.
And I say that with all due respect.
Trust me.
This is America, and I'm glad that we have a right here to protest and to do whatever we want to do. Freedom of expression. But to the average citizen, a person who's a staunch pro Second Amendment, I think they're going to be more understanding, more recognizing what you're saying. But the average person out there, when they see this, I don't think it's praise what you really want to do.
One of the reasons that we did this starting about 2 years ago was to start that conversation. These people out of Netflix, what are you guys doing? What are you guys about? And the folks like the Moms Demand Action Group seems to think that somehow there's some sort of moral superiority to not having a gun and a woman getting raped and killed than that woman being able to defend herself. And the way that we want to come across is you should have the right to choose you go about defending yourself. If you don't want to use the gun, by all means don't use the gun. If you want to use pepper spray, use pepper spray. But to somebody to say you don't have the right to use lethal force against somebody who intends to do you lethal harm is ridiculous.
And I, you know, that argument that you're making is that is an easy, that's a given. But what we're talking about here is we're not talking about the right to choose how you defend yourself. What we're talking about here is
public display.
Yeah, it's a public.
No, I see exactly what you're saying, because I've got into this debate with a few other people, and for the exact reason why you're saying that people see it as extreme, that's why we're trying to do it. Because, I mean, obviously I wasn't alive from it, but my grandfather used to tell me 50, 60 years ago, to see somebody walk, I mean, granted, times have changed, of course, but because people have gotten the idea, well, if we don't see it, it's okay. We're trying to change that. Because, you know, the only thing that most people see, or average person watching the news, is, you know, somebody got shot at on the south side, or you found a body on the north side. So all they see is they associate crime with guns. So them going out there, of course, at first they're going to think, hey, these guys are a little...
I would respectfully disagree with you on that point.
Yeah, I think the educated public would disagree.
What it comes down to, I don't think anybody, well, I won't say that, because everybody has different view, but I think the majority of people don't have a problem with these guns. And I certainly don't. I love to shoot. And I shoot probably, I'm shooting right now probably twice a month at a range. But, you know, the carrying it in public, you know.
Well, that's the whole idea of what we're trying to change, though. Is, yeah,
that's this. Are you comfortable living in a society where everybody's carrying assault rifles on the street?
Well, I don't think anybody's carrying assault rifles again.
Well,
but
okay.
If I saw somebody else...
my terminology, yeah, whatever you want to call it.
I know. But, no, to me, it doesn't bother me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be out here. I would feel...
Well, what I would tell you, and I'll just leave it at this point, you know, I know it makes you feel good, but in the game of politics, which is what you're playing here.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's part of it.
What you're doing is counterproductive, because the people who are and what you really need is you need to win the hearts and minds of people who are not dead set on one side or dead set on the other. It's that person in the middle. It's kind of like the elections you see, where it's the people who are in the middle who determine the election. And what I would tell you, with all due respect, guys, you're losing the guys in the middle by doing this. Because what you're doing is you're looking unreasonable. Nobody, or I think most reasonable people have no problem with having an AR-15 at your house, taking it to the range, going and shooting, those kind of things. If you choose to have that as your means of protection at your house, you know, so be it. But it's this flaunting in the public, which you say and I understand your argument of what you're saying, you're trying to make people more accustomed to it, but you're losing. You may be winning the battle, but you're losing the war. You really are, because people in the middle, you're alienating.
Yeah, how come?
Well, because like my buddy Colt here, I've been doing this for about 2 years, and just as an overview, in the time that I've been doing this, you know, I'm really active. I'm one of the guys that's pretty much at every single walk that we do, whether it's here in San Antonio or other cities and towns that we go to. The thing is that I would see your point, and I can understand where you're coming from, but the thing is generally the response from the public that we get during our walks, if we get one person that flips us a bird or yells at us or something, compared to maybe 100, 200, 300 people that are waving at us, taking pictures with us, honking at us, giving us thumbs up, then I can see where you're coming from. But the response that we get is usually about 98 to 99% positive support, as opposed to that 1 to 2% down.
Well, okay, since we've been standing here, you've had a couple people give you a thumbs up. How many other cars have gone by here that didn't give you a thumbs up?
Well, yeah, but that,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's all about perspective. But
we had one person that honked at us, and I don't know if he flipped us.
no, he was doing thumbs down. Yeah.
you're going to get that.
Let me just tell you this, and I'll let this be my closing point. I consider myself a very normal person. I couldn't be more supportive of the rights that you believe in. But I, being a normal person, don't like people walking up and down the street with rifles. Now you can do it, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to do anything. But I'm telling you, yeah. But like I said, I couldn't be more supportive in terms of you know, these kind of guns. I think it's a hobby. They're fun to shoot. I enjoy them. But I also would tell you, as a normal person, an educated person, college degree, everything. When I see people walking up and down the streets, that's not really what I, as a normal person, want to see. I just don't want to see it. I'd love to see you guys at the range shooting. If we did, I'd be right there on the line shooting with you, and I'd go help post targets with you, and I'd have to go take targets, and we'd have a great old time. But I think the majority of people, and that's why I tell you, I think you're counterproductive. Even though your heart's in the right place, I think you're counterproductive. Is that the normal person does not want to see in America where we have everybody walking up and down the street with assault rifles. Well, y'all think about it, and I'll just leave it at that. Like I said, I'm not here to harass you, and I hope
that's fine. I'm actually happy to talk with somebody, because it's usually either they completely ignore us or they're coming up trying to arrest us.
I'm we're not. Member. I'm pro. I'm every right that you guys believe in. I probably believe in the same thing as well. But you have to be smart politically and recognize that these games are politically played, and I really believe that you cause more harm to your cause than you do positive, because normal people don't like to see this. I know it's not a matter whether it's rifle or whether it's not rifle. That's not the issue. Normal people in America do not like to see people standing at the intersection with rifles like this. I mean, they don't even like guns, period. We want to live in a society where I think people being armed is not an issue. It's people wearing things in the open like this. It's just, if you tell me all you want, and we'll just agree to disagree. But you take most people, they don't like people walking up and down the street with this, and we get a lot of calls on you guys.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, we actually tried to get a hold of you guys. He was trying to call since this morning to the non-emergency number, and it didn't.
Think of the words I'm saying is that we get a ton of calls on you guys, and the calls are panicking. People are afraid, thinking that the next Colorado shooter is out of this intersection, and he's getting ready to unload on some cars. Because that's America. That's what America has become. Is that we have those extremists. What you're doing is you're throwing in your lot with those guys. You're being attached with those guys unwittingly, and I realize you think you're expressing your rights, but unwittingly, you are being attached to those people who do those acts.
In the same manner that he and I are attached to maybe a cop who does the wrong thing, but because we wear the same uniform, they look at us in that same negative.
It's the guy who's fighting, right?
Right. And I think, just seconding what the lieutenant said, we shoot. We have lots of guns. I got a house full of mounts. I'm an avid hunter. And I think what you're going to do in the long run, like he said, is counterproductive. I think at some point the legislature is going to turn what they just did. And they're not going to have a choice. And I think that's because of what you're doing. And I think what it's going to do is they're going to further restrict our gun rights, which is going to hamper all of us.
It's not seldom, unfortunately, where when people are given a right, they want to push it to an extreme to make a political point, and it ends up being counterproductive, because people are like, you know what, I'm not really comfortable driving on the intersections of San Antonio and I see everybody standing there with these guns. These people are not, they're not personally against those guns. They're just against seeing people standing on the street with those guns. And so you're again, you have to make up your own minds. And I'm not.
I understand your perspective of it too, but if you look at it a little bit on the flip side, that person or persons who are calling about being panicked, well, they may go home and then say, well, I saw those guys with guns, I called and nothing happened.
Yeah.
So it could work the other way. It all depends on that person, what they process later.
Let me give you an analogy that you'll understand. Okay, a real easy analogy. An officer goes to a restaurant. They're appreciative that he does, and they give him a discount. They don't, he gets a discount on his meal.
Yeah.
Okay, and the officer appreciates it. No harm done. And so the next thing happens is that officer, word gets through to the other officers. Next thing you know, you have a bunch of officers going there because they think they're going to get a discount.
Yep.
This could apply to any profession, fire department, police, it doesn't really matter. But what ends up happening eventually the store owner goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I really wanted to do this and be nice, but I didn't realize that the whole public safety department of San Antonio was going to show up at my restaurant wanting a free meal. So they take it away. And I think what y'all are doing is going to end up being the same deal. It's hard to tell if it's said more eloquently than I do. But what's going to happen is that you're pushing a right to the extreme, and it's going to backfire on you. And you're going to take 2 steps backwards instead of taking a step forward. Just something to think about. Again, it is America. Like I said, we're not here to have any kind of enforcement action. What I really wanted to do was I wanted to talk to you guys.
Yeah. That's a lot of what we want to do too. We want to talk with you guys. Yeah.
And,
I think I recall seeing, I think 2 of you at the substation, you and you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
You were there too. Okay. But I distinctly remember seeing you two.
It's all over once in a while.
Well, I was the supervisor working that day.
we weren't going to say anything.
As a matter of policy, we normally try to contact, SAPD, non-emergency line, give you guys a heads up, tell you, hey, we're going to be walking from here to here, from this time to this time on this certain date. And we'll give you a week's notice, and then we'll call back the day of, which is what I try to do today. But for whatever reason, I've been trying all day, and I just kept getting the recording on loop, bilingual, all day long.
Okay, bro, let me give you a better way to handle that.
Sure.
Whatever substation you're going to go to, just call the substation. Ask to speak to an on-duty supervisor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the non-emergency line is 50-50. Sometimes they hold somebody, sometimes they don't.
Big city.
If I could ask a question to you guys. Come January 1st, licensed to open carry sidearms. If you see somebody just going about their business while having a sidearm, what is your first impression?
Well, and you bring up an interesting point, and I would kind of parallel this with this issue right here. What you're going to have is you're going to, as I understand it, you're going to have, and Abbott has he already signed that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
My understanding on it is that you'll have the open carry, but what I think you're going to find on this is you're going to find that there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to.
That's what we've always said from the beginning too. Yeah. There's not going to be a lot of people.
Your personal choice, but I'm saying, from the perspective of a lieutenant and a sergeant, if you see somebody...
Let me try and address that.
Okay.
Like the lieutenant started here, it's going to be similar to this here.
Okay.
Depending on the call, the type of call, and the details involved with that call will dictate how we proceed.
Well, I'm saying, like, if you guys are just on patrol, you have to be
Again, the details of that is going to dictate how we proceed. Something like that, the officer will probably go right by you, like the officers already called me here on this one. They were sitting over there.
Yeah, we actually went to go talk to them, and I think they were inside getting some food or something. Because we didn't know if they came out for us.
I'll be by in a few minutes.
All right.
I would also say that, and this is a credit to you guys, but we've had, as I understand, we've had very few incidents needing to take any kind of action, and we don't want to do that. That's not what we're looking to do. Most absolutely. And we get tied up on calls like this that we don't need to be making. We need to be doing other things. We need to be patrolling areas where there's problems. But I don't know.
The officers may come up to you. They may come up to you, make contact.
You get 3 or 4 phone calls, and then they hear some crazy guys in the
They may ask you
you guys already know that, but then they're like, okay, well, it's probably those guys, don't rush everybody over there.
Well, we don't anyway. I mean,
and that's what I'm expecting, like,
there's no panic on our position.
That's going to happen a lot.
It's going to happen. I don't know about a lot.
But what I would tell you is you do create a lot of panic, and it's understandable why. If you separate yourself from the emotional issues, you recognize
Bro,
that
we're just supervisors here.
there's been a lot of bad incidents lately.
The department,
Colorado, with the guy who showed up and shot at the boat. He ended up killing 4 people, I think. We had the Colorado shooter. We've had incident after incident of these kind of things. And so what has happened is that Americans most people recognize that there are crazies out there, and there are. And so what they do is when they see you guys.
I would assume it's going to go on that.
Yeah, they're associating us
make
with
that
it.
association.
Yeah.
To one
And
guy.
that's what we're trying to differentiate.
Yeah, and you're not helping yourself on that. That's why I told you.
Like I said, I don't know. You guys get all the calls, but as far as interaction on our part, like I said, we got nothing but positive, and I have a lot of it documented too. I mean,
I think there's a lot of people that are looking at you, with all due respect. I'm not being mean.
No, I don't.
They're looking at you as loons.
Make contact.
I see that.
They're not going to say anything because you don't mock a guy with a gun.
Yeah.
That's not a very healthy thing.
Yeah,
to do.
no, yeah.
Especially if you believe he may be crazy.
Yeah.
So
Shouldn't really be much of it.
something I was just telling them, and I want to tell you, and this will be my final point, is that most of the calls we get, again, I'm not making a judgment here. I'm just telling you, the majority of people, the calls that we're getting are people who are panicked. They see, and they're frightful, and it's understandable. You know, if you watch the news, you see what happens in Colorado. You see what's happened there throughout different places in the country. And so their immediate thought when they see you is they're thinking, oh my God, we've got one of those guys here. So what I would tell you is just again to consider, this is my last point, and I promise, is that you are getting some thumbs up, and I think you'll get thumbs up from people who are pro Second Amendment. But the reality is, I think most people who drive past you think you guys are evil. And it's just the harsh truth on it. And nobody is going to give you a thumbs down. There'll be some people who will, but nobody gives a thumbs down to somebody with a gun. Okay, when you got an AR-15, they drive past you. You don't flip them a bird, and you don't call them names. So I wouldn't say that a few thumbs up are an overwhelming show of support. But I appreciate you guys' time and
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. And I would ask you, please don't have your guns loaded in case there's an accidental discharge or something like that. You know, like the NRA says, gun safety first, and make sure you're practicing safety on that, all right?
I work every day but Sunday, Monday, unless I take the day off, and I work from 1 to 9. So generally speaking, you guys are here in the hours that I work. You're welcome to call and ask me. The name is Pelfrey. Seems like
y'all don't have a card, do you? You have a card that we can take? Okay.
Every time you're in an area, it seems to be this is my area, so you're welcome to just call for me.
Okay.
You know, let me know, and if I'm not working that day, if you call me a couple days ahead of time or whatever, I'll email all the other guys.
Remember what he said about the area, whatever area you're in, call that substation.
Yeah.
And it has a courtesy, and also it really helps with regards to we know what to expect, and that way when we get callers, we can tell them that hey, this is a. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm being honest with you.
No, we expect that. We really do.
Do you know if SAPD as a whole has any sort of training for coming up for the new open carry law? Because the CEO of Open Carry Texas, he's been going to places like sheriffs.
What we'll see on our department is as we near that deadline,
They'll send something out.
there'll be things.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, because he's been offering it, to come out free of charge if they want a training day.
We'll be discussing the bulletin. We'll be discussing it at roll call, and quite honestly, there's not really that much to discuss. And
We have 2,000 members. You can't 2,000 one training day.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I'm not saying one training day, but I know it's,
it's a lawful right, and it will be a lawful right. And again, like I told you before, thankfully we haven't had problems. We've had very few problems. So
yeah, my personal experience with most of SAPD has been pretty professional.
most SAPD is shooters, just like you.
Yeah, I know.
And most police, but not all, mind you, are
But just
gun
remember
enthusiasts.
remember this in closing. SAPD, most of us are shooters, but the preacher doesn't make inroads by exciting the choir. You got to win the congregation.
All right, guys. Thanks for the chat. Yeah. That was pretty good. Yeah, I got the whole thing. It's still blinking, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, it's going.
Away.
Yeah, see, they're not against us, but they're not for us.
Exactly.
Which is fine. That's all I really care about. Because I could sit here and tell them blue in the face, like, yeah. See, and what he wasn't getting is exactly his mindset is what we're trying to change.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, yeah, that person called in, and even if they do it 2-3 times, they're eventually going to be like, well, nothing bad happened. So what's the big deal? You know?